Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Ingles Furman Radio Network preview of the first round of the FCS playoffs between Furman and Elon. Depending on which poll you're looking at here, you've got Furman ranked as high as number 11 in the latest polls, and Elon ranked as high as number 12 in the latest polls. By ranking, could be the best matchup in all of FCS in the first round of the playoffs this week. I am Dan Scott, apologizing for the lateness of this video, but it's been a holiday weekend, as you know, with Thanksgiving, and then had Furman basketball earlier today, recording this on Friday evening. Furman beat Tusculum at Timmons Arena 102-74 to improve its record to 4-2. But didn't want you to think that we forgot about this first round matchup between Furman and Elon. It promises to be, if you look at just the numbers, a very entertaining football game, and a game that it could in some ways be a mirror of what we saw when these teams met each other in 2017. In fact, played twice that year, if you recall, in Clay Hendricks' first year at the helm of the Paladins. Lost early in the season on a last-second field goal, came back in the first round of the playoffs and beat the Phoenix 24-17 at Rhodes Stadium in Elon. And the difference in that game was a blocked extra point by Donovan Perryman, something that Furman special teams have been very good at this season, blocking 9 kicks. It's something that we'll talk about as we go on. But who are these Elon Phoenix? Furman fans want to know. Well, they come in ranked, as I said, as high as number 12. They're 8-3 on the season. And in talking with Clay Hendricks, talking with both coordinators, Justin Roper on the offensive end, Dwayne Vaughn on the defensive side, they individually of one another compared this Elon team to the likes of, say, Chattanooga and Mercer in one aspect or the other. When you're talking about size, when you're talking about talent across the boards and some of the things they do from a scheme standpoint, those are the two teams that were the constant factor among those three coaches that I talked to this week. And if that's the case, then that should tell you what kind of game we expect this to be at Paladins Stadium. The first home playoff game for Furman since the 2005 season. But the Phoenix, as I said, they come in at 8-3 overall, and they're led by quarterback Matthew McKay. This is a young man who started his career at North Carolina State, transferred to Montana State, and now finds himself at Elon and has had a phenomenal season. The senior from Raleigh, North Carolina, has thrown for 2,471 yards, 21 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions on the year. He also has rushed for 406 yards, so he's a threat with his legs to a certain degree, like Fred Payton at Mercer. Maybe they don't use him in exactly the same way, but he's a guy who can make some plays with his legs. And you look and compare his numbers and what he does with Tyler Huff, Furman's quarterback, and they're very similar. Huff, 1,888 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he's rushed for 537 yards and an additional 5 touchdowns. So both teams with mobile quarterbacks, both teams with outstanding running backs. Jalen Hampton from Elon has rushed for 1,023 yards and 10 touchdowns on the season, averaging 4.6 yards per carry. Furman counters, of course, with its lead running back, Dominic Roberto, 979 yards, 6.1 yards per carry, and 10 touchdowns. So you can see there are similarities at the quarterback spot. There are similarities at the running back spot. And then at the receiver spot, they have 2 main targets. Jackson Parham, 47 catches for 645 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Bryson Doherty, 41 catches for 744 yards and 6 touchdowns. But then their third wide receiver, Chandler Brayboy, has 25 receptions, and their tight end, John Carlos Miller, has 26. You look at the production of Furman's receiving court, led, of course, by Ryan Miller's 62 catches. But then you go down the line. Joshua Harris has 43. Kendall Dean has 38. Wayne Anderson has 33. The point I'm trying to make here is when you start stacking these two teams up statistically and looking at their offensive weapons, they have an awful lot of similarities in where their production comes from and how they go about doing it. They both want to run the football. They both can throw the football effectively, and they both have a varying number of targets that they can go to in the passing game. When you flip it over to the defensive side of the thing, and by the way, at the bottom of the screen there, you see some of the team stats that are scrolling. The total defensive numbers, Furman allows about 40 more yards per game, but a half point less per game. And I think probably one of the things that you're going to want to watch in this game is Elon does not turn the ball over very much at all. They've turned it over 12 times this season, 4 interceptions and 8 lost fumbles. They're +9 in the turnover margin. They have taken it away from opposing teams 21 times, chiefly via the fumble. Furman's defense, of course, has been among the national leaders in interceptions all season long. They have picked off, Furman has 16 passes on the year, +5 overall is Furman in the turnover category. So again, you can see some similarities on both sides of the ball there. The thing that just continues to jump out at you is what Furman has been able to do in special teams. And everybody focuses on the block kicks, as well you should. 9 block kicks, 8 field goal or extra point attempts, and the 1 block punt. But the Paladins also have a touchdown return on a kickoff. The punt return game, for the most part, has been solid. Special teams has been a major factor in Furman's success this season. And you know, you look at the kicking game. Look what Axel LaPro and Ian Williams have combined to do from a field goal standpoint. LaPro handles all the extra points. Williams handles all of the longer field goals. He's missed exactly twice all season long, and both of those were in excess of 50 yards. Furman's special teams has been a difference maker this season. And when you're talking about playoff football, you're talking about two teams that in a lot of ways appear to be evenly matched. You look for any advantage you can get. And the thing that jumps off the plate or jumps off the computer screen, whatever you want to call it, is what Furman continues to do in special teams. Elon's going to have to account for that. Furman's playing with an awful lot of confidence in that area right now, and I would suspect that they will continue to do so. Let's take a quick look at the rest of the FCS national schedule as we move forward. Pop that up on the screen. And, of course, the other team in the Southern Conference to make the FCS playoffs was Samford. And you look at the schedule that we have there, Elon and Furman, Davidson versus Richmond, St. Francis and Delaware, Fordham at New Hampshire, North Dakota at Weber State, Gardner-Webb at Eastern Kentucky, Idaho at Southeastern Louisiana, and Southeast Missouri at Montana. Samford, one of the national seeds, they're not playing this week. The winner of this Furman-Elon game makes its way to San Antonio next week for a battle with another national seed, Incarnate Word. And, hey, I've never been to San Antonio, so that would be a nice trip, wouldn't it? Bottom line is that this is one of the more intriguing first-round matchups that you're going to see on that schedule that we just showed you. And in fact, in talking with some of the folks around Furman, they were a little curious. I think that might be the safest word to use about how the committee went about its business in certain aspects of things, and why two teams that are as highly ranked as Furman and Elon are playing one another in round one when there were other regional matchups that would have made sense for two teams that have had such great seasons to this point. But that's not what the committee did. Clay Hendricks has talked publicly this week about there needing to be some transparency in the way the committee goes about its business, and everything from how they select the field to how they do the matchups and the criteria that they're using. Bottom line, while all of that is true, I can promise you that Clay and his entire staff are focused and have been on this Elon Phoenix team since the moment the brackets were announced last Sunday. So it is going to be a fantastic matchup. As we're recording this and putting it out on Friday evening, there are still a lot of tickets available. And I know that there's quite a bit going on Saturday at noon, including right down the road, the Clemson, South Carolina game. But I would encourage you to get to Paladin Stadium. Tickets start as low as $10. There's not a bad seat in the house. And we need all of the purple we can get in there to make it a true home field advantage and get Furman into the second round of the playoffs next week on the road to San Antonio to take on Incarnate Word. Going to have an excellent effort against a very, very good Elon Phoenix team. And we need to have a packed house, if possible, at Paladin Stadium. Tickets available at FurmanPaladins.com, or you can buy them when you walk up to the gate tomorrow. And again, they start as low as $10. It is going to be a fun afternoon of football. It's great to be back in the playoffs, third time in Clay Hendricks' 6 years, and probably another year should have been in, and the committee didn't put the Paladins in. But the bottom line, you're in this year. You're ranked 11th. You're playing the number 12 ranked team. It is going to be a massive first-round matchup, and we'll have the entire broadcast for you. ESPN Plus will have the video. We always encourage you, if you can't make it, hey, watch it. Just turn the sound down, sync up the broadcast, and listen to us on the Ingles Furman Radio Network. We will begin with the Pepsi Countdown to Kickoff at 10:30 a.m. Saturday morning, and the game kicks shortly after noon from Paladin Stadium. The game broadcast can be heard in the upstate via the Fan Upstate 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 FM in Spartanburg. And no matter where you are, you can go to FurmanPaladins.com. You can click on the Listen Live link at the football schedule. It'll take you to the Fan Upstate's page, or go to Odyssey.com, search the Fan Upstate, and you'll have us streaming live wherever you go. It is going to be a great, great afternoon of football, and we are looking forward to having you in the house with us for Furman and Elon in the first round of the 2022 FCS playoffs. Hope you can make it. If not, again, check out the broadcast via the Fan Upstate beginning at 10:30 a.m. David Cobb, Marcus McMorris, Tom Van Hoy will all join me as always, and we'll be there ready to rock and roll and bring you all the action of Furman and Elon from Paladin Stadium at noon on Saturday, pregame 10:30 a.m. Until then, as always, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you, and so long, everybody.